Williams here. So good to see you. We are in a series called Unstuck. Unstuck. And I'll show you the book. It's by a favorite author of mine named Kim Jones. And this is the book. You can go to Amazon and find it. I haven't posted links for this yet, but go to Amazon and look for Unstuck. We're going to do a total of 90 days in this, and I'll see it's it's Kimberly Jones, okay? And you'll see this picture of her on the back, so you know you have the right book. But it's hot pink, brand new book with hot pink with yellow lettering, okay? So today is day number 5. You can watch the other days on here, or you can watch them on my Paralegal Coffee Talk Facebook page. I'm posting them on Instagram under Paralegal Coffee Talk. Oh, where else? TikTok. On TikTok too. And forgot to put lipstick on. Oh well, bear with me. Today is day 5, finding purpose in loneliness. And you may wonder, how in the world can you find purpose at that time? But I'll go over some examples along the way here, okay? So let's do, and I try to keep these videos under a certain time frame. So we're going to cover things rapidly. I'm going to quote Isaiah 41:10 to you. Book of Isaiah, chapter 41, verse 10. Don't be afraid, for I am with you. Don't be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will hold you up with my victorious right hand. So he didn't promise us that the world would be trouble-free. In fact, he said, in this world, you will have troubles. That's another promise of the Bible. But he said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. I will bring you through it victorious. So cling on to that. Doesn't matter what it is that you're going through, whatever it is you're going through at the moment. For me, it was loss. For other people, it has been that, but a different kind of loss, abandonment, trauma from the past. Oh, divorce, loss of a long-time job or a short-term job that you really need. Who doesn't need their work for income? And so those disappointments, those tragedies, all of that can make us feel very, very vulnerable, alone. Sometimes when you're going through those things in your life, people abandon you. They just stay away. They can't deal with the trauma of it or the sorrow, and they expect you to be okay, sometimes in a nanosecond. But it's not on their time frame that all that happens. It's between you and God that happens. So let's go into, there are Bible promises, and this is one of them, the one I read in Isaiah 41:10. Look that up and cling on to that. You said, I will be victorious. He didn't say when, but he said, I'll stand by you and I lift you up with my right hand. It doesn't get much better than that. The Lord knew, of course he knows, that we're going to face situations that make us tremble and fear. And you'll have other Christians or other people say to you, well, where's your faith? You know, I thought you were so strong in the Lord, and look at you, you're trembling in fear, as if they don't tremble. Believe me, they do. You will face situations, and this can either make us walk away from the Lord or rely on him more. And he hopes that you'll come closer and nestle in close and rely on him more, because he has great things ahead for you. In order to stand strong, I'm not strong in myself. I rely totally on God to lift me up with his right hand. I'm not strong in my own self, my flesh. You know, I talk about David a lot, and I'm going to use him as an example. Nobody had expectations for David. I said that yesterday. Um, he was one of the youngest of all his brothers, or the youngest. But God anointed him as king of Israel because he was a man after God's own heart. When he was tending sheep in the field, he had to wrestle predators because lions would come in and other predators to kill the sheep. Sheep are very vulnerable. The Lord compares us as humans to sheep, that they need a shepherd. And David was that for the sheep. The Lord is that for us. And so David sought the Lord when he was alone in the fields. His purpose was to be a shepherd of those sheep. Who knew that he would become king of Israel? The Lord did. And the Lord was preparing him for that. And as I said before, he made mistakes. David made mistakes. But one time David was in a cave hiding from King Saul. King Saul, David was best friends with King Saul's son, Jonathan. But because the people were favoring David, like they were drawn to David, Saul was jealous. Saul thought, oh, he's going to try to take over. He was out to kill David, who was his son's best friend. David hid in a cave. Saul actually came in that cave in all his kingly finery, his robes. And David, he was standing right by David. David was sitting in that cave. David cut a piece of his robe off. And he showed Saul, I could have killed you then, but I didn't. Saul was not acting correctly as a king. And God made David the king. David, in his work as a young boy, did all his work by himself. It was a lonely existence at times, I'm sure. And he communicated with God. He wrote psalms to the Lord, praising the Lord, communicating with the Lord. There was a purpose for David going through this. David committed a terrible crime, which I talked about in one of the other days. So let's get to you now. You have a purpose. Jeremiah 29:11, which I will quote all through this series. So look that up. Google it. Look at it in the Message version of the Bible. Look at it in the NIV version and just soak that in for yourself. You have a purpose. He will, in the darkness, in your aloneness, your feeling of abandonment, your trauma from the past, all those things that you're dealing with, your anger, he will use it all for good if you just focus on that he's doing a work in you and he's going to show you some things. Okay, so be open to the showing. Be open to the learning, and it will just blow your mind. Going through this series is going to help all of us, okay? He will restore things that have been taken from you or that you might never have had. Maybe you just haven't been full of joy, and you want that so desperately. So when you were born, Kim Jones in her book here says, you cried, they maybe give you a pat on the behind and you cried. But that person that was birthed that day, you have a purpose in life. There's a destiny God has set out before you. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're 35 or in your 70s or 80s or 90s. There is a purpose and a plan for you. And it took that long for you to fulfill it, for you to say, oh my gosh, I could have been doing this all along, but the timing is God's, okay? So when God called you, he didn't set up a conference call of any type. He's calling you into your purpose. And it's up to you to discover what that is. You can find that purpose in those times of aloneness. I want you to focus on that. The plan of action is to get unstuck. See you tomorrow.